Almost 2 years ago in 2021, I made a video all about setting up your financial accounts for your print-on-demand business and some options that were available on the market. Well, it is 2023 and I thought it was time for an update, so let's talk about getting your business finances set up for your print-on-demand business. All right, as I mentioned, I made a video about this in 2021, and because so many things have changed, naturally there's some new options available on the market now, and some of the information I talked about in that video has been outdated for quite a while, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to do a 2023 update, especially for any new print-on-demand sellers out there. So in this video, we're going to talk about the benefits of setting up business financial accounts and keeping those separate from your personal finances, even if you're a sole proprietor, and some of the options that are currently available. And I want to share a couple of disclaimers before we dive in, just like I did last time. First of all, I am not a financial planner. I'm not an accountant. I'm just a small business owner, and I'm sharing this information because it was hard for me to find information about these types of accounts and understanding whether I was eligible to open business accounts and things like that when I got my print-on-demand business started. So I'm just here to share based on my experience, but please make sure you do your own research, and if you think you need to, please contact a financial professional. All right, that was a lot of disclaimers, so let's dive in, and let's start with why business banking is important for your print-on-demand business. And as I always do on the POD Insights channel, I'm going to use Etsy as the example here, but having business accounts is really relevant and necessary for you, whether you are selling on Etsy, selling on Amazon Seller Central, selling through your own website. All right, so first and foremost, the main reason that you want to have business accounts set up for your print-on-demand business is that it keeps your personal finances separate from your business finances. And the main reason that you want to keep those things separate is that it is much easier to track your expenses for your business, which is necessary so that you can deduct expenses from your revenue and arrive at the income that you need to pay income tax on. And actually, I have one other disclaimer to share here. I am in the United States. I only have experience with these accounts and taxes and things like that in the United States. So if you are a seller located in another country outside the US, then keep in mind some of these things are going to be different. Having business accounts also offers you the opportunity to earn rewards, which can add to your bottom line, both in terms of interest on balances that you might have in a checking account, as well as cashback rewards on a credit card. An additional benefit of having a business credit card, at least in the US, is that business credit cards, most of them, do not report your business credit information to personal credit bureaus. So for example, the impact of having another credit card and the charges you make on it won't have an impact on your personal credit score. Of course, you are still personally responsible to pay for your business debts if you accrue any debts. You also don't need to have a formal business entity to qualify for these business accounts. It is perfectly acceptable to be a sole proprietor and apply for a business account. Now, you may still file for a DBA or a trade name or something like that in the state that you live in the United States so that you can have a business name listed on the credit card. However, it's totally fine to be a sole proprietor and apply for these accounts. In the US, I personally have had no issue opening business checking and business credit card accounts as a sole proprietor. All right, so let's talk about some of the business checking accounts and business credit cards that I recommend you consider for your print-on-demand business. First, let's talk about business checking accounts. A checking account is a really good mechanism for you to keep your cash flow going, and you actually don't even need a credit card. You can use the debit card from your checking account to pay the order expenses that you have or any expenses that you have. Now, you may think that you could simply just go to any major bank and open a business checking account and that would be just fine for you. However, in my experience in researching business checking accounts, I actually don't think a lot of the big major banks are the best option for online sellers in general, but especially print-on-demand sellers. And that's because as far as business checking accounts go with some of the larger banks like Capital One and Chase, they still have what I would call more of a traditional setup for their business checking accounts, meaning there are significant fees unless you meet minimum requirements, and their minimum requirements to waive those fees are pretty high for a print-on-demand business where we don't necessarily have a high cash flow on a monthly basis, at least while you're building your business. At a certain point, you absolutely will have enough of a cash flow to meet those minimums and waive the fees. However, they also generally don't offer interest, and if they do offer interest, it is very, very low. So I don't think the big banks are really the best option in terms of an online checking account for you for your print-on-demand business. There are two that I do recommend that have absolutely zero maintenance fees. There are no requirements that you need to meet to waive fees, and they operate online, but they also offer you a free debit card, and they offer interest on your balance. So my first recommendation is an American Express business checking account. This is actually a fairly recent addition to the business checking account market. I have one myself. This is the checking account that I personally use, and it is a great companion if you also have an American Express business credit card. And there is one that I do recommend, so we'll talk about that when we get to credit cards. I do just want to mention, though, that in order to have the American Express business checking account, you do have to be an Amex customer with either a personal or a business credit card account. But the Amex business checking account is very simple to use. It was very easy to open an account. There are no fees that you need to worry about. They offer you a free debit card, and it currently offers 1.3% interest on balances up to $500,000. Now, of course, that interest rate changes pretty regularly. When I first opened the account, it was 1.0%. At one point, I think it may have been higher than 1.3. It's currently 1.3. So of course, you want to check the current interest rate and do comparisons. But in general, the Amex business checking account is going to offer a pretty competitive interest rate on your balance, and that can add to your bottom line as your profits build up in that checking account. All right, my second option for you for an online business checking account for your print-on-demand business is Bluevine. Bluevine was one of my original recommendations from that first video I made 2 years ago, and I still do recommend it. However, they have changed their requirements for earning interest. They still do not have any fees that you need to worry about. There's no requirements that you need to meet to waive fees or anything like that, and it was very easy to open an account, very easy to qualify, so it still checks a lot of boxes. It also still includes a free debit card that you can use. Currently, Bluevine is offering 2% interest on up to $100,000 in total balance. However, you do have to meet one of two requirements, and that would be spending $500 or more using your Bluevine debit card each month, or receive $2,500 or more in incoming payments each month. So if your print-on-demand business is receiving a total of $2,500 in deposits or more each month, then you would get the 2% interest on your balance each month that occurs. However, if you go a month without either of those requirements being met, you will not earn any interest for that particular month. So earning interest on Bluevine is a little bit trickier than it used to be, because it used to just work the same as the American Express business checking. But if you do receive over $2,500 in revenue from your print-on-demand business every month, then that 2% is a very competitive interest rate. And before we move on to talk about business credit cards, I do want to mention that for either of those two business checking accounts, it is very easy when you are ready to actually transfer some of your profits out to your personal accounts. Very easy to set up an online transfer and connect one of your personal bank accounts. It's just like setting up an electronic funds transfer between any other bank accounts. Generally speaking, you always want to leave a balance in your business checking account so you can cover your next month's expenses that you expect. However, after that builds up for a few months, it's certainly safe to pay yourself some of those profits into your personal accounts. All right, so let's talk about business credit cards. The main reason that I recommend looking into a business credit card, which I mentioned at the beginning of the video, is that you can earn rewards on expenses that you're going to pay regardless, right? Every single order that you get, you have to pay for the fulfillment cost of that order. Whether you get a reward for that expense is determined by what type of account you use to pay for it. Let's just do a really quick example, and then we'll talk about the options that I suggest. So for example, let's say that your monthly order fulfillment cost is $1,500. So every month you're going to spend $1,500 on the cost to fulfill your orders. No matter what type of account you use, whether you get cash back or not, that's what you're going to pay. But if we use a credit card that offers a 2% cashback rate on all purchases, then that $1,500 each month is going to give you a return of $30 cash back. And if that cash back for 1 month doesn't sound like a lot to you, consider if that occurred every month all year long. So 12 months of getting $30 cash back is $360. Now consider what you can do with an extra $360 for your business. For example, if you use Printify, Printify has the Printify Premium account, which offers up to 20% discount on product prices. that helps to improve your profit margins. And the cost of Printify Premium is $29 per month if you pay monthly or $300 per year if you pay annually. So the cash back on your credit card, if you earn 2% on $1,500 all year long, the cash back has just paid for your Printify Premium account and still left you with a little bit extra. And the higher your expenses are, the more cash back you will ultimately get. Now, of course, you never want to use credit cards to spend more than you need to for your business. But assuming you're only using your business credit card to pay for expenses that you would have paid for either way, then it's a no-brainer to get that cash back. All right, so let's talk about some of the credit cards that I recommend you consider taking a look at. And as a reminder, there is a link to each one of these products in the description. If I have a referral link for any of these, I will include both my referral link and the regular link in the description so that you can compare which sign-up bonus offer is better, because they do change over time. So the first business credit card that I recommend you check out is the American Express Blue Business Cash Card. It has no annual fee and offers a flat 2% cash back on the first $50,000 that you spend each year. After $50,000, it drops to 1%. Because it has no annual fee and offers 2% cash back, I do think this is a great starter credit card for your print-on-demand business, especially while you're spending less than $50,000 per year. Now, Amex also has a membership reward points version of the same credit card that instead of earning cash back, earns membership reward points if you value membership reward points more than getting cash back. And either of these cards could be a great companion to the Amex business checking account. The downsides for this credit card are, number one, it does have a foreign transaction fee, so if you do make international purchases regularly, this won't be the best option for you because you'll pay a fee on international charges. However, if you use a platform like Printify to have an order fulfilled in another country, and let's say that you're based in the US, but you have an order fulfilled in Canada by Printify, the charge still comes through on your credit card as Printify in the US, so those types of purchases are not considered international. The other downside is that the 2% cashback is limited to your first $50,000 in spend each year, so if you're an established business and you have a higher expense than that per year, it may not be the best option for you, since there are other cards, which we'll talk about more in just a second, that offer 2% cashback unlimited regardless of how much you spend. And one of those credit cards that is a newer entry to the market is the PayPal Business Cashback Card. This one offers unlimited 2% cashback on all of your business purchases, and you can redeem that cashback into your PayPal business account, which you can then use to pay your balance or transfer it out to your bank account. Now, this one does also have a foreign transaction fee, so again, if that's a concern for you, may not be the best option. But this can be a good companion to a PayPal business account, which you might use for other transactions. However, PayPal in general doesn't function like a business checking account as far as receiving funds. However, even if you don't really use a PayPal business account for any other transactions, I still think this is a good option for your business because of the no annual fee and the unlimited 2% cash back. All right, if you are a Chase customer and you like to do your banking with Chase, they have their line of Ink credit cards. Now, 2 of the 3 options they currently have offer increased cash back on different categories, which don't always fit the best with print-on-demand selling. However, they may fit some of your business expenses, so you still might want to check out the Ink Preferred card as well as the Ink Business Cashback card. However, the one I'm going to mention is the Ink Business Unlimited card, which offers a flat 1.5% cash back on all of your business purchases. It does not have an annual fee, and it does have a foreign transaction fee. So the cashback reward for that Chase card is a 0.5 percentage point less than the Amex card and the PayPal card. However, it does not have any tier you need to meet. There's no limit to the 1.5%. And if you already do your banking with Chase, it still can be a good option to not worry about different categories for the cash back. If you are worried about foreign transaction fees, then Capital One has some business credit card offerings that could be a good fit for you. Their Spark business cashback cards do not have foreign transaction fees, so if that's what you're looking for, then they may have an option. The Spark Plus cashback card offers the highest rewards rate at a flat 2% on an unlimited amount of purchases. However, there are a couple downsides to this card. It is a charge card, not truly a credit card. Basically, that just means you are required to pay off the balance in full every month, and there's no preset spending limit. There's also a $150 annual fee for the Spark Plus card. However, it does have 0 foreign transaction fees, so it has you covered there if you make a lot of international purchases. So if you only make domestic purchases, if your transactions don't come through as international transactions and you're not worried about that foreign transaction fee issue, then I actually think one of the other 2 cards is probably a better option for you because they don't have annual fees. But if you do make international purchases, then this could be a good option for you. Capital One also offers a Spark cashback card that does not have an annual fee. However, the cashback rate is a little bit lower at 1.5%. And it still does not have a foreign transaction fee. So if you spend less, but you're worried about foreign transaction fees, then that one could be a good choice. They do have that option that only pays 1.5% cash back, but it does not have an annual fee. And if you're wondering where the break-even point between the 2 Capital One cards would be, it is $30,000. So if you spend over $30,000 per year, then you'll actually get more cash back from the Spark Plus card, even with the annual fee. If you spend $30,000 or less, then the Spark card with no annual fee that pays 1.5% cash back will be the better option. One final thing I know you might be wondering is, how do I know how much I'm going to spend each year? Well, the best way to know that is through experience, but if you get a feel for what your expenses have been in the past, you can use that to project how much you might spend in a given year. So the best thing you can do is just make some predictions for your sales volume, and then you know what it costs to have your orders fulfilled, so get an average order fulfillment cost and multiply that by your anticipated order volume. Basically, just make your best effort to make an estimate of what your expenses might be if you're trying to make one of these choices. All right, so those are the recommendations that I have for you to take a look at. As I mentioned, definitely do some of your own research, take advantage of the resources that I linked to in the description, and let me know in the comments if this was helpful. One final disclaimer, I cannot give you individual tax advice or financial account advice because that is not my profession. It just wouldn't be appropriate for me to. So I hope this information was helpful for you. Do me a favor and hit that like button if it was helpful, and subscribe to the POD Insights channel if you haven't already. If you have, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.